Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back. Today I want to talk about Bygones, with how many we can farm at the Tower Obelisk, how much time is left, it's running out, it's DadRifle Perfected time. It's a perfect weapon to break down the small intricacies of a roll, because Bygones shows different playstyles, different ways to use mag options and barrels, different perk combinations. It shows damage rounding and what perks can help that. It shows different rolls for mouse and keyboard versus controller. There isn't really a top roll, but there is a roll catered to what you want to do with it, how you play, and what input you're on. This is somewhat of a re-review, an updated review, since all these rolls are at our fingertips. Now, Bygones is a stat monster. Very strong base stats, it's up there with something like Austringer, just a beefy weapon. I'm gonna walk through it, but there really isn't a top barrel, a top mag, a top perk combination, there's just different ones, and once you find the roll that you want to play with, the barrels and mag changes. The input that you're on is gonna warrant a change, and so on. Now, there is a roll that I've always wanted since Bygones came out, and in the background gameplay you're seeing that. I had back-to-back We Ran Out of Medals the first two games I played with it. I personally love it, I find a lot of value in it, but it might not be for you though. And you can figure out what that roll is pretty quick, and later on in the video, I will break down why I like it and what's happening with it. First things first, range and hard stop, timeout. Clear your mind, that hand cannon video I made, I was talking specifically about hand cannons. Now, the effects of range are different for each archetype, especially when they state that. For a long time, we've thought the same way about range, and I think it's really important to take notice when they change something. And it's some more than others. When they come out and say very specific things like reduce the effect on the range stat has on damage drop off, the effective range for this weapon archetype, that's telling us about caps. They're saying that everything that makes up the experience with range, and in this case for a hand cannon, it's not relying heavily on the range stat itself, so that aim assist, the final accuracy, the initial accuracy. And the point of my two-part video was more or less that for hand cannons, especially the popular ones that have 75, 85, 95 aim assist, the other base stats are stellar, the 100 recoil direction, like spare rations. When they put in a range cap like that, my point is that when you're in range for your optimal TTK and even a 4-shot TTK, the distance is close enough. It's that the accuracy and the aim assist for both low range and high range hand cannons are pretty much the same. Then there's a cutoff. There's a very specific distance. It isn't that range doesn't matter, it's that for hand cannons, the benefits are small. And they're small because Bungie made it that way by what they told us. And we may see the same thing happen shortly with the upcoming shotgun changes, so stay tuned. Alright, time in. For Bygones and other weapons aside from hand cannons, adding to the range stat can be felt. It's tangible, fall off, hit detection, all of it. Pulses were also hit with reduced range, and I went over that day one when the changes went live. So a max range blast furnace used to hit at 60 meters, now it caps at 45. So squeezing as much as you can from the range stat because you're at further distances with a pulse can help. But depending on the roll, you might want to have more stability. I will walk through that. The next thing is going to be recoil direction. It actually is really good at 69. So if you get a good roll with a counterbalance mod added, it brings the stat to 84. That's more than enough on the curve. The same thing with chambered. That grants plus 10 to recoil direction, brings it to 79, you should be good. You can then add on a counterbalance mod to make it go to 94. That again is more than enough. If you get arrowhead break, you don't need a counterbalance mod at that point. You can go another route, target adjuster, sprint grip, Icarus, whatever you want. Now, if you do get a good roll, it's not the end of the world if you don't get arrowhead. Mine doesn't. It has fluted barrel and hammer forge, so I just added a counterbalance mod. We're good, we move on. If you're using mouse and keyboard, all that doesn't really apply. You can go full bore for max range, no counterbalance mod added, and the spread's still good. So it's that old thing that we keep saying, range for mouse and keyboard, stability for controller. Depending on your role though, you can spec into different ones. So the next thing I want to get into is straight into the perk combinations. There's many ways to go about it, but you have to think about your input. You could go Outlaw Rampage, and the thing about it is that one stack ups the damage enough to be able to 2-burst your next opponent. And the thing about that is that since mouse and keyboard is so stable, it's easier to do over there. You can go target to target, and you can do it quicker than a controller. The burst of the recoil is tight, so this is without considering the magazine or the barrel, just at base shooting it. The background is with mouse and keyboard. I have on fluted for more handling. That also gives a light boost to stability and then ricochet. Those were the best options that were given to me with my barrel and magazine, so I made it work. And since I'm not worried about the recoil direction with mouse and keyboard, I have a rampage spec on instead of a counterbalance mod. The first player gets 6 straight headshots, the 7th bullet downs. The next player is right in my face, they do get 2 bursted because of the rampage ×1 stack. If you're to use this roll with a controller, going back and looking at that recoil direction and overall bounce of the burst, I would put on a counterbalance mod. On this one, since I didn't have arrowhead, or chambered. But I would also want to add stability whenever I could. To get the grouping tight, it could be polygonal for the barrel, it could be small bore, ricochet in the middle tier. That way with the controller, I'm actually able to land the 2 burst on my next opponent. So it's 2 completely different setups, because you could go full bore and ricochet with mouse and keyboard, but to actually be able to land the 2 burst on a controller, you would want the stability perks, if that makes sense. Another perk combination is the Bygones, and Cammy got me into this one. That is slide shot high impact reserves, and the idea behind it is to keep your magazine low. You have slide shot, so when you slide you get ammo back in the magazine. You also get a boost to your stability and range, and the stability boost is good for your first couple bursts, keeps them straight and tight. So you keep your ammo low, you slide in, you're loading into 2 bursts because you're at the end of the magazine with high impact reserves. You only have 3 or 4 bursts to work with, but you can 2 burst your next opponent. It's a very fun thing to do. It's very unforgiving though, it's not for everyone. If you do want to challenge yourself, this is something that you can do. It's a role you can go for to work on your shot. It forces you to be accurate. And on this one, the same thing kind of applies. Range for mouse and keyboard, stability for controller. However, the stability boost that you do get really helps from slide shot. So if you're on controller and you get a lot of range, that's going to be okay too. Next perk combination is Outlaw Kill Clip. This is probably the most sought after role. Outlaw for a fast bonus to reload speed after a precision kill. This way you don't have to use energy on a pulse reloader or the enhanced reloader. And since the start of Destiny 1, these 2 perks together are elite. Outlaw Reactive Reload, Outlaw Kill Clip. The damage is so heavy that it 2 bursts easily with Kill Clip active. Easy 3 critical, 3 body, nothing wrong with that. I feel for the kill clip roll, or any roll with a controller really in a pulse rifle, the first priority is actually getting the burst straight, and I talked about that earlier with Arrowhead, Counterbalance mod, because even something like Hammer Forge for +9 range is really good. You just add on that Counterbalance mod. That's where you want to be, a very predictable up and down straight burst. You're going to be good at that point, it's lethal. And with this roll you get a headshot, reload fast, and then let it rip. It's a great roll. The one that I like is actually Headseeker and Kill Clip combined. This is the one that I've always wanted. This is the one that's been in the background footage. There is a reason why I like Headseeker. There are only 3 pulses in the game that roll this combination: Bygones, Claws of the Wolf, and Horror's Least. What draws everyone to 390 pulses is the relaxed time to kill, that 0.93 TTK. For that to happen, it's a 5 headshot, 2 body shot. Importantly, it's a 7 bullet kill. A 7 bullet kill hits 0.93. So don't think in terms of headshot ratio to body shot, things like that. Think in terms of bullets to kill. So with a pulse, a 7 bullet kill is 2 full bursts, then the first bullet of the 3rd burst. The 390s happen to be quite relaxed because you can have some body shots in there. The second thing to know is that for 390s, from what I've seen, they have rounded damage. I talked about this almost right at a year ago with Last Perdition when I reviewed it. The numbers on screen are from that video. This is what the damage should be doing. As you can see, the 5 crit 2 body should be 195 damage. That downs a lot of resilience in the game. And some of you saw damage numbers, they can round. Sometimes the actual damage has a decimal point next to it. And it's something I pointed out in the Braytech review for the 450 RPM auto rifles. They're actually doing 25.5, but in game they show 26. And from that video, the Headseeker numbers are at the bottom, and those numbers are what it should be doing. Keyword there, should be doing. I estimate that the 390s are actually doing like 30.5 to the head or 30.8 to the head. And that's also depending on what the actual body shot damage is. So I accounted for that in the critical damage number, but that doesn't really matter, the exact number. The main thing from what I tested is it isn't doing the full 31. That starts to add up a little bit. So when you try to reach a TTK with 5 headshots, 2 body, there could be 2.5 damage less than what the game's actually showing you. So in game here that is. This is with 6 resilience. The TTK is a 5 head, 2 body. In theory it's 195 damage, but at 6 resilience that survives. The 5 crit, 2 body downs 5 resilience or less, but with Headseeker added, it has a little multiplier to it. Headshots that land after a body shot do more damage, and in this case, it does 2 more damage than it would have. It probably isn't the full 2 because of rounding, but it's enough. With Headseeker, it downs 6 and 7 resilience, doing 5 headshots and 2 body shots, keeping that 7 bullet TTK. So it downs 7 resilience and lower because of Headseeker doing 5 crit 2 body. And note that Headseeker at the start of Destiny 2 didn't work because the damage was so low, but now it's doing what it was doing in Destiny 1, saving the bullet time to kill, and in this case, 7. You're pairing this with Kill Clip, reloading after kill grants 33% more damage, and Headseeker adds on to this. Since it has that little multiplier, the 41s actually turn into 44s. so 3 more damage than it would have been doing. And when you're procced, it's just spray mode. If you hit body, that's alright, because Headseeker's gonna proc, and it's proccing off of the kill clip damage. This roll, in my opinion, on this Bygones, is the most relaxed weapon in Destiny 2. In a regular duel, Headseeker can show up to down something that you shouldn't have. With kill clip active, it's an easy 2 burst, I love it. The full roll that I have on this one is quite interesting. I got fluted or hammer forged. I went with range that hammer forged gives, and I just put on a counterbalance mod, no big deal. It has a stability masterwork. The magazine is actually armor piercing rounds, and I kind of like this on this roll. It's not something I would have seen on paper and wanted it over the other ones, but it works well because when you get that massive damage with a kill clip, and then Headseeker can help with that, when it's that 120 round burst doing 40-ish per headshot, that's a lot, that's heavy. So with armor piercing, that damage can go through a target and hit someone behind him. Like right here, I have kill clip versus spectral blades. You can see the enemy behind, I'm hitting them because they're in line with the shots. I've noticed in game, I see that damage going through one target to the next, and when it's heavy, that 120 plus burst, it feels good because it happens more than I thought it would. I kind of like it. But with this roll, kind of going on the theme here, it's interesting how it works out. Honestly, the stability doesn't really matter because Headseeker's working on it. On controller, even if you have max stability, it's still gonna proc Headseeker fairly frequently due to how recoil is on console. No matter what though, with mouse and keyboard, since it's so precise, it's kinda hit or miss. This thing lands all 3 when you aim at the head pretty consistently, even a little bit lower. But Headseeker does proc with mouse and keyboard, just not as much as console. On console, if you at max range, I'm talking full bore, the whole shebang, this Headseeker kill clip works because low stability is being helped by Headseeker. And one more thing for console, I can't stress it enough. I mean, the Bygones, it's like at 33 to 35 meters, the average like fall off range for this thing. I can't stress that you need to aim lower at a further distance. It registers the hitbox lower. If you actually aim for the head, only 1 or 2 bullets are gonna land. And at this distance, getting kill clip and Headseeker going together works really, really well. That's why I like my roll. Now with mouse and keyboard, you don't aim this low, but you do aim a little bit lower. You would do like upper chest. And one more time, technically on paper, the top roll for longevity, in case you're wondering, is probably going to be full bore for mouse and keyboard, arrowhead break for controller, range masterwork, ricochet for the magazine. And the top is probably going to be outlaw kill clip. That's probably pound for pound the safest bet. It's a roll that you can pull out a year from now, and it's going to do well. But I went through the rampage roll, I went through the slide shot roll, my roll, that Headseeker kill clip, I showed why that one works. There are multiple ways to use Bygones, and none of them are wrong. They all work, there's no clear winner. The only thing that matters is what you want to play with and how you like to play. I think the first thing is to get that grip on what you want to do with it. There are perks like opening shot, but that works oddly on a pulse. There's under pressure, it takes a little bit too long for it to get going on a Bygones. Rangefinder with something like Outlaw or full auto can work. If you find value in those, go for it. But these 390s with damage dealing perks are just really, really good. After that, the barrels and magazines can be manipulated. You can get the best out of you can with the roll that you have. Like for controller, Arrowhead isn't the end-all be-all because it's fine at base with a counterbalance mod added if Arrowhead misses. Something like the magazine, High Cal does give +5 to range, the same as Ricochet, but Ricochet does give that stability. Other magazine options give other bumps, and one of the only things you might be unhappy with is something like a pure magazine perk. But even then, you work with it because Bygones is so strong with its base stats. It's a very unique weapon to break down. So again, I suggest you find what you want to do with it. Multiple rolls work. Yours could be Outlaw kill clip, mine's Headseeker kill clip. You could be a mouse and keyboard player, and Rampage is more appealing because you can go target to target and just laser people down. Do that then. After that, you can make other things about the roll work. Say you do get the roll that you want. It has appended mag though, not Ricochet. It has chambered, not Arrowhead. It's still going to be good. This one should be your main Bygones. And the next step, if you want to, is to farm another one and try to find those things that you missed on if you just simply can't live with them. Just keep going. Like for mine, I'm valuing Headseeker over Outlaw. I'm somewhat simulating that with reloader perks. They're not as fast as Outlaw, but it gets the job done for kill clip. In conclusion here, I wanted to talk about why I like Headseeker kill clip for Bygones, but that doesn't mean it's the best one. It's just the one that I find value in for my reasons, and this is also an updated review for Bygones. That full auto kill clip Bygones from the Drifter was actually used in my most opponents defeated game. I believe it was 62. It's great. So find a roll that caters to what you want to do with your playstyle. That could even be slide shot kill clip. Don't get hung up on certain barrels and magazines. you can make them all work. So if you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. What bygones are you looking for? I want to hear about yours. And also give some insight as to why you like one role over another, and also talk about what platform you're on. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.